Today, we're diving into an important legal topic: property damage. Whether you own a home, rent an apartment, or run a business, understanding what counts as property damage is essential. Property damage can affect anyone, and knowing the basics helps you protect your rights and respond appropriately if something happens. In this video, we'll break down the definition of property damage, explore common examples, and discuss how the law views these situations. Let's start by clarifying what property damage actually means and why it's such a significant issue in both civil and criminal law. Property damage refers to any harm or destruction caused to physical property. This can include buildings, vehicles, personal belongings, or even land. The key aspect is that the property must be tangible, something you can touch or see. When property is damaged, its value is reduced, or it becomes unusable. The law recognizes property damage as a loss that can be compensated or, in some cases, prosecuted. It's important to note that property damage doesn't just mean total destruction. Even minor harm, like a scratch or dent, can qualify if it affects the property's value or function. When we talk about property damage, it's helpful to understand the types of property that can be affected. Generally, property falls into two categories: real property and personal property. Real property includes land and anything attached to it, like houses, buildings, or fences. Personal property, on the other hand, covers movable items such as cars, electronics, furniture, and jewelry. Both types are protected under the law, and damage to either can lead to legal consequences. Recognizing these categories helps clarify what can be considered property damage in different situations. Physical damage is the most obvious form of property damage. This includes any visible harm, such as broken windows, smashed doors, dented vehicles, or cracked walls. Physical damage can result from accidents, natural disasters, vandalism, or intentional acts. The extent of the damage can vary from minor scratches to complete destruction. What matters is that the property is less valuable or less functional than before. Physical damage is often straightforward to identify and document, making it the most common type of property damage addressed in legal claims. Not all property damage is visible. Sometimes, property can be damaged in ways that aren't immediately obvious. For example, contamination from chemicals, smoke damage, or water infiltration can harm property without leaving clear marks. These types of damage can still reduce the value or usability of the property. Non-physical damage is often discovered during inspections or when the property fails to function as expected. It's important to recognize that the law can treat these cases just as seriously as visible physical damage. Property damage can occur either intentionally or accidentally. Intentional damage happens when someone deliberately harms property, such as through vandalism or arson. Accidental damage, on the other hand, results from unintentional acts, like a car accident or a tree falling during a storm. The distinction is important because the legal consequences can differ. Intentional acts may lead to criminal charges, while accidental damage is usually handled through insurance claims or civil lawsuits. Understanding the difference helps determine how responsibility is assigned. Vandalism is a common example of intentional property damage. It involves deliberately defacing, destroying, or altering property without the owner's consent. Graffiti on walls, breaking windows, or damaging vehicles are all forms of vandalism. This type of damage is not only costly to repair, but also considered a criminal offense in most jurisdictions. Victims of vandalism can seek compensation through the courts, and perpetrators may face fines or even jail time. Vandalism highlights how property damage can have both financial and legal consequences. Accidental property damage is very common and can happen in everyday life. For instance, a neighbor's tree might fall onto your fence during a storm, or a guest might spill wine on your carpet. Car accidents often result in damage to vehicles and sometimes nearby property. While these incidents are usually unintentional, they can still cause significant loss. Insurance policies often cover accidental damage, but determining fault and compensation can sometimes be complicated. It's important to document the incident and communicate with all parties involved. Negligence is another way property damage can occur. This happens when someone fails to take reasonable care, resulting in harm to another person's property. For example, if a landlord neglects to fix a leaking roof and water damages a tenant's belongings, the landlord may be held responsible. Negligence doesn't require intent, just a lack of proper care. The law often allows victims to seek compensation for losses caused by someone else's negligence, making it a key concept in property damage cases. Natural disasters like floods, earthquakes, hurricanes, and wildfires can cause widespread property damage. While no one is at fault for these events, the resulting damage can be devastating. Insurance policies often include specific coverage for natural disasters, but there may be limitations or exclusions. It's important for property owners to understand what their insurance covers and to take preventive measures when possible. After a disaster, documenting the damage thoroughly is crucial for filing claims and starting the recovery process. Property damage can lead to both criminal and civil cases. Criminal cases involve the government prosecuting someone for intentionally damaging property, such as in cases of vandalism or arson. Civil cases, on the other hand, are disputes between individuals or organizations seeking compensation for losses. For example, if someone accidentally damages your car, you might sue them in civil court. Understanding the difference between criminal and civil cases helps clarify what actions you can take if your property is damaged. Insurance plays a major role in handling property damage. Most homeowners, renters, and business owners carry insurance policies that cover various types of damage. These policies can help pay for repairs or replacements after an incident. However, insurance coverage can be complex, with different rules for intentional, accidental, and natural disaster-related damage. It's important to read your policy carefully and understand what is and isn't covered. Promptly reporting damage and providing evidence can help ensure your claim is processed smoothly. If your property is damaged, it's important to report it as soon as possible. This might mean calling the police in cases of vandalism or theft, or contacting your insurance company for accidental or natural disaster-related damage. Timely reporting helps document the incident and can be crucial for legal or insurance claims. Be sure to take photos, gather witness statements, and keep records of all communications. The more information you provide, the easier it will be to resolve your claim. Assessing the extent of property damage is a key step in the process. This usually involves a professional inspection to determine what was harmed and how badly. The assessment will look at the cost of repairs, the value of lost items, and whether the property can be restored. Insurance adjusters or independent experts may be involved. Accurate assessments help ensure fair compensation and guide the repair or replacement process. Always keep copies of inspection reports and estimates for your records. Once the damage is assessed, the next step is repair. Depending on the extent, this could mean anything from patching a wall to rebuilding an entire structure. Insurance may cover some or all of the costs, but there can be deductibles or limits. It's important to hire reputable contractors and keep records of all work done. In some cases, repairs must meet certain standards or codes, especially for structural damage. Proper repairs not only restore value, but also prevent future problems. Sometimes, property damage is so severe that repair isn't possible or practical. In these cases, replacement may be necessary. Insurance policies often distinguish between repair and replacement coverage, which can affect how much you receive. For example, replacing a destroyed car or a burned-down house usually costs more than repairs. Understanding your policy's terms helps you plan for these situations. Always discuss options with your insurer and get multiple estimates if possible. Determining who is legally responsible for property damage can be complex. Responsibility may fall on the person who caused the damage, the property owner, or even a third party. For example, if a contractor damages your home during renovations, they may be liable. In rental situations, landlords and tenants may share responsibility depending on the lease and local laws. Understanding liability is crucial for seeking compensation or defending against claims. Legal advice may be helpful in complicated cases. Property damage often leads to disputes between tenants and landlords. Tenants are usually responsible for damage they cause, while landlords must maintain the property and address normal wear and tear. Lease agreements often specify who is responsible for different types of damage. If a dispute arises, both parties should document the condition of the property and communicate clearly. In some cases, security deposits may be used to cover repairs. Understanding your rights and obligations helps prevent conflict. Businesses face unique risks when it comes to property damage. Damage to commercial property can disrupt operations, lead to lost income, and affect employees and customers. Common causes include theft, vandalism, fire, or accidents. Business insurance policies often include coverage for property damage and business interruption. It's important for business owners to regularly review their coverage and update it as their operations grow. Quick response and thorough documentation are key to minimizing losses. Vehicles are a common target for property damage, whether through accidents, theft, or vandalism. Car insurance policies typically cover different types of damage, including collision, comprehensive, and liability. It's important to understand what your policy includes and what your responsibilities are after an incident. Promptly reporting damage, getting repair estimates, and cooperating with your insurer can help resolve claims efficiently. Remember, not all types of damage may be covered, so review your policy regularly. Personal property includes items like electronics, clothing, jewelry, and furniture. Damage to these items can occur in many ways, from accidents at home to theft or fire. Homeowners and renters insurance often provide coverage for personal property, but there may be limits on certain items. Keeping an inventory of your belongings and their value can make the claims process easier. Be sure to update your inventory regularly and keep receipts or photos as proof of ownership. Property damage isn't limited to buildings and objects. Land can also be damaged, for example, by pollution, illegal dumping, or construction accidents. Environmental damage can have long-term effects and may involve government agencies or special regulations. If your land is harmed, it's important to document the impact and consult with experts. Legal remedies may include cleanup orders, fines, or compensation for losses. Environmental property damage is a growing area of concern in many communities. In today's digital world, property damage can also include harm to electronic data or systems. While not always covered under traditional property laws, some jurisdictions recognize digital property, like files or software, as valuable assets. Damage can occur through hacking, viruses, or accidental deletion. Businesses and individuals should take steps to protect their digital property, including regular backups and cybersecurity measures. Specialized insurance may be available for digital risks. Property damage isn't just about financial loss. It can also have a significant emotional impact, especially when cherished possessions or homes are affected. The stress of dealing with repairs, insurance claims, and possible displacement can be overwhelming. Support from friends, family, and professionals can help during these times. Remember, it's normal to feel upset after property damage, and taking care of your mental health is just as important as fixing the physical damage. Prevention is always better than cure. There are many steps you can take to reduce the risk of property damage. Regular maintenance, installing security systems, and following safety guidelines can help protect your property. For businesses, employee training and emergency planning are essential. Insurance is a key part of prevention, providing a safety net if something does go wrong. Being proactive can save you time, money, and stress in the long run. Security measures are one of the most effective ways to prevent intentional property damage. This can include installing alarms, surveillance cameras, and secure locks. For businesses, hiring security personnel or using access control systems can further reduce risks. Visible security measures can also deter would-be vandals or thieves. Regularly reviewing and updating your security setup ensures ongoing protection as threats evolve. Fires are a leading cause of property damage, but many incidents can be prevented with proper precautions. Installing smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, and sprinkler systems is essential. Regularly checking electrical wiring and avoiding overloaded outlets can also reduce fire risks. For businesses, fire safety training and clear evacuation plans are critical. Taking these steps not only protects property, but also saves lives. Weather-related property damage is common, but many losses can be minimized with weatherproofing. This includes sealing windows and doors, maintaining roofs, and installing storm shutters. For areas prone to flooding, sump pumps and proper drainage are important. Taking these steps before severe weather hits can make a big difference. Insurance companies may even offer discounts for certain preventive measures. When filing an insurance claim for property damage, you'll likely encounter the term deductible. This is the amount you must pay out of pocket before your insurance coverage kicks in. Deductibles can vary by policy and type of damage. Choosing a higher deductible usually means lower premiums, but more out-of-pocket costs if you need to file a claim. Understanding your deductible helps you plan for unexpected expenses and choose the right coverage for your needs. Filing a property damage claim involves several steps. First, report the damage to your insurer as soon as possible. Provide detailed information, including photos, receipts, and a description of what happened. An adjuster may visit to assess the damage. Keep records of all communications and follow up regularly. The process can take time, but thorough documentation and clear communication help ensure a fair outcome. If your claim is denied, you may have the right to appeal. Sometimes, insurance claims for property damage are denied or the payout is less than expected. If you disagree with your insurer's decision, you have options. Start by reviewing your policy and the reasons for denial. Gather additional evidence if possible, and communicate your concerns in writing. Many insurers have an appeals process, and you may also seek help from a lawyer or consumer protection agency. Persistence and clear documentation are key to resolving disputes. If insurance doesn't fully cover your losses, or if someone else is responsible for the damage, legal remedies may be available. This can include filing a lawsuit for compensation, seeking an injunction to stop ongoing harm, or negotiating a settlement. The legal process can be complex, so consulting with a lawyer is often a good idea. Remedies depend on the circumstances and local laws, but the goal is always to make the victim whole again. Every legal claim for property damage is subject to a statute of limitations, a deadline for filing a lawsuit. These time limits vary by state and the type of claim. Missing the deadline can mean losing your right to compensation, so it's important to act quickly. If you're unsure about the time limits in your area, consult with a lawyer or check local laws. Keeping good records and acting promptly helps protect your rights. For minor property damage disputes, small claims court can be a practical option. These courts handle cases involving limited amounts of money and are designed to be accessible without a lawyer. The process is usually faster and less formal than regular court. If you choose this route, prepare your evidence carefully and be ready to explain your case clearly. Small claims court can be an effective way to resolve disputes and recover losses. Mediation is another way to resolve property damage disputes without going to court. A neutral third party helps both sides reach an agreement. Mediation can save time and money and often leads to solutions that work for everyone. Settlement agreements reached through mediation are usually binding. If you're involved in a dispute, consider mediation as an alternative to litigation. It can be especially helpful when ongoing relationships are involved, such as between neighbors or business partners. In criminal cases involving property damage, courts may order restitution. This means the offender must pay the victim for the losses caused by their actions. Restitution is separate from fines or jail time and is intended to make the victim whole. The amount is usually based on repair or replacement costs. If you're a victim in a criminal case, ask the prosecutor about restitution and what documentation you'll need to support your claim. Police reports are important in many property damage cases, especially when the damage is caused by a crime or accident. A police report provides an official record of the incident, which can be useful for insurance claims or legal proceedings. Always request a copy of the report and review it for accuracy. If you notice any errors, ask for corrections as soon as possible. Accurate police reports help support your case and speed up the claims process. In complex property damage cases, expert witnesses may be called to provide opinions on the cause and extent of the damage. These experts can include engineers, contractors, or appraisers. Their testimony can help clarify technical issues and support your claim. If you're involved in a dispute, consider whether expert input could strengthen your case. Be sure to choose qualified professionals with relevant experience. Thorough documentation is essential in any property damage case. Take clear photos and videos of the damage from multiple angles, keep receipts, repair estimates, and any correspondence related to the incident. If there are witnesses, get their statements in writing. Good documentation not only helps with insurance claims, but also strengthens your position in legal disputes. Organize your evidence so it's easy to access when needed. Insurance policies often contain exclusions, specific situations, or types of damage that aren't covered. Common exclusions include wear and tear, intentional acts by the policyholder, or certain natural disasters. Reading your policy carefully and asking questions can help you avoid surprises. If you need coverage for excluded risks, ask about additional policies or endorsements. Knowing what's excluded is just as important as knowing what's covered. Insurance adjusters play a key role in property damage claims. They investigate the incident, assess the damage, and determine how much the insurer should pay. Adjusters may visit the property, interview witnesses, and review documentation. It's important to cooperate with the adjuster and provide all requested information. If you disagree with their assessment, you can request a second opinion or appeal the decision. Filing false or exaggerated property damage claims is insurance fraud and can have serious consequences. Insurers investigate suspicious claims and may deny coverage or pursue legal action against fraudsters. Always be honest and accurate when reporting damage. If you're accused of fraud by mistake, provide clear evidence to support your claim. Integrity is essential for a fair and functioning insurance system. Subrogation is a process where your insurer seeks reimbursement from the person or party responsible for the damage after paying your claim. For example, if your neighbor's negligence caused a fire, your insurer may pay you and then pursue the neighbor for a repayment. Subrogation helps keep insurance costs down and ensures the responsible party bears the cost. You may be asked to cooperate with your insurer during this process. Property damage can also occur abroad, whether during travel or for overseas property owners. Different countries have different laws and insurance requirements. If you're traveling, check your travel insurance for property coverage. For overseas property, work with local experts to understand your rights and responsibilities. International property damage claims can be complex, so thorough preparation is key. To wrap up, property damage covers a wide range of situations, from minor accidents to major disasters. Understanding what counts as property damage, how to prevent it, and what steps to take if it happens can save you time, money, and stress. Remember to document everything, know your insurance policy, and seek help when needed. Whether you're a homeowner, renter, or business owner, being informed is your best defense against the unexpected. Thanks for watching, and stay prepared.